Inspired Conversations, episode 12. And the question is, what is the essence of who you are when you remove your entire past history? I loved this video so much by Eckhart Tolle on meditation, or just getting into the present moment, into the now. And he guides you through steps to do that. But and towards the end, this is just one of the most beautiful questions, and as a way of getting into yourself. And it's the question of what is the essence of who you are. But what we do as humans is we look to our past and, this is who I am this, and I've done this, and da-da-da-da. But that's the mind identifying with, past actions and things to make up who you are. But that's not really who you are. So when you remove that entire, mind process and you put everything aside that you've ever done to really feel who you are now, it's like giving you permission to feel who you are and not identify with all the things from your past. And I just found that beautiful to give permission to not, because, it's just hilarious. Because, our past really isn't that great, And when you can just, because there's all sorts of emotions and things that can come up with the past as well. And, so you're identifying with all of that, and that's kind of making up who you are. So there's all these emotional pulls and things. So if you just go, but that's really not the essence of who I am at all, it helps you to then be more in who you are, and not look to the past to help build who you are. So it gives you freedom in the moment to go, well, and just feel yourself, as opposed to, and the mind just going, so it just allows you to be in that beautiful space and walk and be and do in that beautiful space by not identifying with the past. And it helps you to easily just sit into or feel or be in that, that lovely place, and work from that place and do life from that place, because you've already said, well, the past doesn't make up who I am. So I don't know, I just think that's so cool to not refer back to the past to make up who you are now. So it helps you live from that place.
Well, it's really interesting how he talks about how we are drowning in mental thoughts. We are drowning ourselves in our own mental thoughts. And it's not just past, it's also future. But a lot of our future is being preconceived, or the fears about our future are being dragged up because of all the stuff in our past. So if you took your entire past and deleted it and say, well, who am I? Who am I as a being? And I love how he gets you in touch with just... it's that, well, what is the essence of the person that's having the thoughts? Who are we that when we're, who is it that's seeing the things that we are seeing? Who is it that's having the thoughts that we are having? Who is it that, lets our mind completely, fill our heads with all this jibber jabber? And with all the digital stuff we have around, that doesn't help either, because it's, we've got emails coming in and text messages and phone calls and so many alerts and everything.
I loved what he was saying, how, when you are in the present, you're practicing presence, but then, or if you just look at, I guess, we're surrounded by all these things, all these, technology, so emails and, social media and, YouTube and all of this stuff. And if we get an email, it's like, oh, it's important. It's an email. I love the way it's just like, oh, someone's posted something on Facebook. Oh, that's important. But all of that just takes you out of this beautiful place and it's the mind saying, hey, everyone, I'm important, listen to me, and then you get caught up in that stream of thought, and that's just how we generally roll.
And I love how and again, I haven't really thought about it this way, but when you are in a state of awareness, you're just sitting, you're being still, and you are letting your thoughts happen, but you're not hanging on to them. You're letting them float by, or you're letting them go by. And as you do that, I love as awareness grows inside of you, the thoughts quieten down. You can't have awareness and be in a hugely thought, and have a lot of thoughts going on at the same time. So I love how he makes that distinction too, because I hadn't. It sounds weird, but I hadn't even thought of it that way. But it's more of a feeling when you stop thinking and you start being more aware. So you do have an appreciation for where you are. You do feel grateful for what's happening in your life. You do have that little bit of quiet, and the thoughts do seem to calm down when you aren't breathing, feeling the aliveness in your body. It is very easy to get caught up in the everyday thoughts. It's very easy to be rushing from one thing to the next. Oh, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to... And you're just having one thought after the next crashing into each other, and there's very little space. There's no space between those thoughts. And in that state, there's anxiety, there's stress, there's pressure. And I love how he points out, what if we lived our entire life like that? What sort of person would, what sort of person would you be if you just had one thought after the next crashing into each other? All these, fears about the future, all these regrets and stuff about that you've done in your past, and to live in that constant state with ever finding that moment of stillness, or just being able to find awareness.
But really, that's how, so many people live and experience life. But it's really because we've never, this is something that we never get taught, or, it's something that really hasn't been part of our, history or growing up, or it's, we don't know. We don't know. We just get caught up in it all and roll with it. And until you choose to be aware of how the mind works and your state of being, you will continue to do that. Because if you can be aware of your thoughts, you go, oh, that's just my thoughts playing out, but, I'm not going to follow it. It's just making a decision, a choice. It's just an understanding, really, isn't it? It's just an understanding of how the mind works and what state of being you'd rather be in. Would you rather be just experiencing life on just this different, beautiful, level, as opposed to, the mind just worrying about this, that, got to do this, go there, what about this, da-da-da.
So it's a conscious decision to not be your past, to not fill your mind with the thoughts of the future. And it's just a way of being where you can truly just feel who you are.
But the mind has relevance, and there's certainly not saying that, there isn't a time and place for the mind to do its thing, because the mind is very powerful in that way for, taking action and doing things that need to be done. But to be able to have that space, because that space is really where you get the truest answers for yourself. And once you feel that, then you can take action on those things, and put them into action, which the mind is very helpful with. But it's really that state of being that will give you your greatest, guidance for life, in which direction you will go. Just the little things that happen every day, whether things happen with your kids or at work or whatever, if you can have those quiet moments to get those little answers, then you can resolve things so much more quickly in your life and move forward to a much more, positive, way of living life, as opposed to just staying in the mind and rolling with the same patterns over and over and over again. It's the awareness that breaks you out of those patterns.